So, Season 5 is a season with a very mixed reception among Spongebob fans. For some people, it's already too far into the show and is one of the bad seasons, while some people think it's way stronger. Something that's for sure though is that it has some bad episodes. So today we are gonna talk about the top 10 worst Season 5 episodes.
Hey!
So this video is a little overdue. It's been a couple of months since we did the other Season 5 videos, but I'm finally getting around to this one. So let's start off with number 10, Pest of the West. This gotta be one of the lamest specials of the show. There is no tension here, since Plankton is the villain and can get defeated by just being stepped on. And that happens in the same episode. The episode is really unfunny, and with nothing really happening, it's just kind of boring all the way through. It's lower on the list because there's nothing really bad here, like, nothing at all really. The episode makes me fall asleep, but compared to some others on this list, this one is way more tolerable. And I like some of the visuals here. The setting is cool, although I wish they'd done more with it. Number 9. Whatever Happened to Spongebob. This special has more going on than Pest of the West. It's a pretty grand story, with Spongebob leaving town and losing his memory, becoming the new mayor of New Cap City. But this episode has some real problems that are more apparent than anything in the previous entry. I really dislike the beginning of this episode. Everyone gets mad at SpongeBob and calls him Idiot Boy. This could actually have been a good intro if executed correctly. SpongeBob is really annoying, we know that. But in this episode everyone gets mad at him for making mistakes, like on accident. Imagine if he instead did stuff to them like he does in his normal annoying appearances. This is not boat smarts or good neighbor SpongeBob. This is just SpongeBob accidentally messing stuff up, which causes the episode to take the side of him. His friends are the one who are the assholes here, which just makes the beginning suck. And don't even get me started on Squidward in this episode.
So you're saying this thing can actually find SpongeBob?
You got it, Squid Cakes, but it's gonna take all of us to find her.
This episode is just a mess plot-wise, and while there is some stuff here that I like the bubble popping boys, and that's about it. That sequence with SpongeBob escaping them is the highlight of the episode, but can't make up for the lousy beginning, and the characterization, and some questionable artistic choices. Number 8. Stanleys Squarepants. Stanley is just annoying. The trope of one character messing up and another character being forced to take the blame is not only overdone, but just not fun to watch at all. I can take the first part at SpongeBob's house, and I even quite enjoy the scene at Patrick's, but as soon as they get to the Krusty Krab, the episode just becomes straight annoyance. Number 7. A Flea in Her Dome. Now this episode does some stuff that I like. I think it has some decently funny moments, and an episode almost entirely taking place in the tree dome is cool. But who decided that it was a good idea to make an episode about fleas biting people and showing close-ups? This episode is disgusting, and that's really my biggest problem with it. If the fleas weren't as gross, this episode wouldn't be on this list. It wouldn't be on the top list either, don't get me wrong, but the flea stuff being so gross is what drags the episode down. Number 6. The Original Fry Cook. This episode is so mean for absolutely no reason. The concept is very good. Of course there had to be a fry cook before SpongeBob at the Krusty Krab, and I enjoyed the flashback scenes and Squidward's long hair. But the rest of the episode is just SpongeBob being absolutely roasted and everyone telling him that he is just essentially trash. Jim is very unlikable here, and I just feel bad for SpongeBob in this episode. Number 5. Fungus Among Us. This episode suffers from the same problems as A Flea in Her Dome, but is also just bad. I dislike pretty much everyone in this episode. The scenes where Spongebob gets the fungus and spreads it are so drawn out and boring. Then after a really harsh quarantine scene, Patrick comes in to be a plot device and then disappear. And then the worst stuff of the episode is in the ending, where a disgusting Spongebob literally gets jumped by everybody. The townspeople sucks as always here, and the episode is also gross. The resolution with Gary is okay, I guess, but this episode is just not enjoyable at all. Number 4. To Love a Paddy. What were they thinking with this one? This episode is so confusing that it's almost funny, but only almost. The only time in the whole show where any sort of romance is explored with SpongeBob, they choose to do it with the Krabby Patty. Why? And then they choose to make this patty disgusting, and then they have SpongeBob literally killing clams 2 seasons after Junior. What is going on? Number 3. Boat Smarts. So this episode is just extremely annoying. It's 4 minutes of SpongeBob being a terrible character. Why couldn't he act like this at the start of whatever happened to SpongeBob? It's the crab's karma thing all over again. Characters just can't be punished when they actually deserve it. Number 2. Waiting. This episode is 7 minutes of SpongeBob being an annoying baby. I feel like I have been saying annoying a lot in this video, but that's really the best way to describe this type of post-movie episode. SpongeBob is a baby who acts like a total jerk to his friends. Once again, episodes like this is the reason I felt like his friends should have been justified with calling him an idiot in whatever happened to SpongeBob. This episode sucks. Before the number 1 pick, let's go through some dishonorable mentions. Spongehenge. Some people might be surprised this isn't on the actual list, but for all its flaws, I can't help to be fascinated by it. It's one of the strangest episodes I've ever seen. The first half sucks, but the last half with SpongeBob building a giant Stonehenge with statues of himself and then returning to a long gone Bikini Bottom, and then the weird epilogue with the aliens, it's all just so weird in kind of a good way. Now the episode is not good at all, but I found more enjoyment in it than most other episodes on this list, than all the other episodes on this list. SpongeBob vs. the Paddy Gadgets. This one has a nice concept and the rhyming storytelling is probably good. I say probably because I can't hear it. I have no idea why this whole short has music playing way too loud over the dialogue. The episode itself is fine, even pretty good, but the mixing or something must be messed up because I seriously can't tell what Patchy is saying at times. So weird. Blackjack. This episode has a kind of very dark tone to it. It's just played a bit weird where it really doesn't feel like a SpongeBob episode. Although I can appreciate that a bit. I don't appreciate how humorless and dragged out bits of this episode are, especially the scenes at SpongeBob's uncle's house. The plot twist is kind of great, but this episode either just feels kind of off or just straight boring. Okay, so the number 1 worst SpongeBob episode of season 5 is Breath of Fresh Squidward. This might be the most messed up episode of the show. Squidward in this episode becomes exactly like SpongeBob and is then punished for it. I mentioned this in my Squidward torture video, but punishing your characters for being more like the main character is one of the worst writing choices I've ever seen. I hate this episode, and I especially hate SpongeBob in it. Like, to me, this is his worst appearance in probably the whole show until that new episode, what is it called? Sponge Haters Club. Yeah, he is terrible here, and I feel so bad for Squidward because he can never be happy because either he will be punished for being a grump or be punished for being like our main character. It's so messed up. Jesus. Okay, so that was my list. Feel free to share your own list in the comments, and I will see you next week, where I've said this a lot of times now, but next week is definitely going to be the big video. I've been putting it off for a while because it's a lot of work, but it's coming out, and yeah, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.